Think that you know everything about the Super Nintendo Entertainment System? Well, I bet you probably don't. And I'm actually going to prove it by showing you 5 things you probably didn't know about the Super Nintendo. For me personally, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System is the king of 16-bit consoles. Now don't get me wrong, I do love the Sega Mega Drive, and I actually owned that system first. But once I owned a SNES, I was amazed at the variety of games available and their quality. Hell, I still am to this day. But there's so much to this awesome system that even hardcore SNES fans might not know everything about Nintendo's great box of tricks. So sit back and enjoy some trivia about the Super Nintendo. You never know, you might actually learn something. We live in an age where surround sound is even more affordable than ever, and owning a true home theatre setup is an achievable goal for many. You've got soundbars, 5.1 and 7.1 speaker configurations, and most modern consoles support them to ensure that games sound even better than ever before. But did you know that the SNES supported surround sound? In fact, it supported Dolby surround sound, the earliest of Dolby's multi-channel setups. It used 2 sound channels to encode data for left, centre, right and rear speakers, giving an early form of home surround sound. Put simply, if you have a surround sound system that supports it, you can play certain SNES games in Dolby Surround. Some games like Jurassic Park and Super Turrican had the Dolby Surround logo on the box indicating support. However, there are many more games out there that supported Dolby Surround unofficially, such as Super Castlevania and Secret of Mana. You can still do this today. You just plug your SNES or television into a Dolby compatible home theatre system and set it to output in Dolby Pro Logic or Dolby Pro Logic 2. The results are seriously impressive and well worth trying out for yourself. We take digital distribution of video games for granted these days. In about 5 minutes I can turn on my Xbox One and purchase a brand new game, and then I just have to wait for it to download. That is progress. We don't even have to leave our houses to buy games or rent movies, and it's amazing. But there was a time when Nintendo's 16-bit system could do pretty much the same thing. If you had a Super Famicom and of course lived in Japan, you could purchase the Satellaview, a satellite modem add-on that fits to the bottom of the console and connects to a satellite broadcasting network. The purpose of this? Well, games of course, as video games could be broadcast live over the air, and there were a ton of Satellaview exclusive games that hit the service, from a handful of Zelda games, a visual novel spin-off Chrono Trigger, and several F-Zero releases. Many of these games even included live broadcast dialogue. While the UK's British Telecom were in talks with Nintendo to bring a similar service to the UK, with a trial being run between 1995 and 1996, the idea didn't quite make it to market in the West. As it happens, one of these trial cartridges has been unearthed recently. Many of the Japanese Satellaview games have made it out into the wild via ROMs that emit the broadcast audio that made them so unique, but very recently this functionality has begun to be brought back unofficially. There may well be a time when Western gamers can finally experience these games as originally intended, albeit in a fan-translated form. You all probably know that the SNES was due to have its own CD add-on, originally in partnership with Sony. That relationship was scuppered by a disagreement over licensing, but did you know that Sony already had a massive part in the Super Nintendo, namely its impressive sound chip? The SSMP audio processing unit was a part of every single SNES console that made it out to market, with its main feature being that it was based around sampled instruments rather than the synthesized sounds of its peers like the Sega Mega Drive. It was created by Ken Kutaragi of Sony, who would later become the father of the PlayStation and eventually the chairman of Sony Computer Entertainment itself. It was his vision that got Sony this first step into the games industry, and no one could have predicted them to one day dominate the industry in the same way Nintendo once did. Much like any console sound chip, the quality of music relied entirely on the composer. While the SNES was capable of some incredible music such as the soundtracks to Final Fantasy games, Donkey Kong Country and Secret of Mana, it was also capable of some utter stinkers like the Chess Master's awful cacophony of noise. When growing up, we probably all had a tiny television in our rooms to play our consoles on, if we were lucky. But what if our consoles were built into our televisions? This has been a reality a handful of times, and the Japanese were privy to a SNES built into a television courtesy of Sharp. The Super Famicom Naizo TV SF1 was released in 1990 and featured a cartridge slot on the top and Super Famicom controller ports at the bottom. It was known for an incredible image quality, the SNES Famicom feature could be reset using the remote, and you could even record gameplay straight to a VCR using it. It even supported peripherals like the Satellaview. You won't see many of these in the wild, but they are pretty awesome to play on, so if you see one, check it out immediately. The SNES was a very impressive system in terms of technical power. While the Mega Drive had a faster processor, the SNES had more memory, was able to display more colours and more sprites, but could also output at many more resolutions. Most Super Nintendo games would display at a resolution of 256 by 224, and it was also possible for software to utilise a high resolution mode of 512 by 448. Only a handful of games utilised this resolution, and it was mainly used for menus. Here are a small selection of known games that display in high-res mode in this fashion. Secret of Mana used the high-res mode to display menus. Seiken Densetsu 3, the sequel to Secret of Mana, similarly used the high-res mode in its menus as well. Power Drive was another game that displayed menus in high-res, as well as a few logos. Dark Claw was another game that, you guessed it, displayed high-res mode during menu screens. As far as I can tell, only one game used the high-res mode for actual gameplay, and that's the awful looking RPM Racing. In addition, there was even a pseudo high-res mode that ran by 512 by 224 that allowed for transparency effects, as demonstrated in the overlays during Jurassic Park. So that was some facts that you hopefully didn't know about the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. If you liked this video, then why not share it with your friends, maybe even comment below and tell me some of the facts you didn't know, or even give me some of your own SNES facts. Thank you very much for watching. Do not forget to subscribe to Hoof Gaming for even more gaming videos, and until next time, keep gaming positive.